Let me ask you something simple. When you walk into your bedroom at night, does your body sigh in relief, or does it brace itself? I mean that. Does your space invite you into rest, or does it feel like just another extension of your to-do list, your phone, your busy mind? Because the truth is, your sleep doesn't start when you close your eyes. It starts the moment your environment tells your body, hey, it's safe to let go now. That moment, that transition, is everything. And yet, most of us never think about our sleep environment. We think about our jobs, our stress, our phones, our thoughts. We blame ourselves when we can't sleep. I'm too anxious. My brain won't shut up. Maybe I need melatonin. But what if the problem isn't you? What if the problem is the space you're trying to sleep in? Because here's the reality most people don't realize. Your brain is always scanning your environment, even when you're not aware of it. It's constantly asking, are we safe? Can we relax now? Is it time to rest or stay alert? And your environment answers those questions through light, through sound, through temperature, through clutter, through the energy in the air. And if those answers don't line up with the message, yes, you can rest, your body holds back. It doesn't fully release. It stays slightly guarded, slightly alert, and that's when sleep becomes shallow. That's when you toss and turn. That's when you wake up exhausted, even though you technically slept. So in this episode, we're going to talk about the power of your sleep environment. Not just how to make your room prettier, but how to turn it into a true sanctuary. A place where your body feels safe enough to surrender. Because that's what sleep really is. Surrender. And surrender needs a space that supports it. So let's start with the most obvious and most misunderstood element of your environment. You've probably heard by now that blue light from screens can mess with your sleep. And yeah, that's true. Blue light suppresses melatonin production, and melatonin is your body's signal to wind down. But it's not just about screens. It's about the entire rhythm of light in your environment. Your body has evolved over thousands of years to respond to the natural rising and setting of the sun. When the sun rises, your brain gets a blast of bright blue-toned light. That tells your system, wake up, time to move. When the sun sets, the light gets warmer, softer, redder. That tells your body, wind down, it's almost time to rest. But our modern lives don't follow that rhythm anymore. We live under harsh artificial lights until midnight. We stare at glowing screens inches from our face. We flood our eyes with stimulation even as our bodies are begging for stillness. And then we wonder why we can't sleep. So here's the shift. Start dimming your lights at least an hour before bed. Use lamps instead of overhead lights. If you can, switch to warm bulbs, not the cool white ones. Even better, consider amber or red lights for nighttime. They mimic the tones of sunset and help your brain transition. And yes, reduce screen time too, but more importantly, reduce brightness overall. Let your home ease into the dark. Let your body remember what dusk feels like. That one shift alone, just honoring the light cycle, can change everything. Now let's talk about sound. Your brain processes sound even while you sleep. It's wired that way to protect you. So if your bedroom is noisy, street traffic, loud TV from the next room, even a partner snoring, your brain can't fully drop into deep rest. It stays partially alert, ready to react. And that means your sleep is fragmented. You might not even wake up fully, but you'll cycle through lighter stages. You won't get the deep healing you need. So here's what I recommend. Experiment with sound masking. That might mean a white noise machine, a fan, or even something as simple as rain sounds playing softly in the background. Not to distract you, but to create a consistent, calming soundscape. One that tells your brain, nothing to worry about here. You're safe. Just be careful not to use sound with voices, music lyrics, or anything too stimulating. Remember, the goal is not to entertain your brain, it's to soothe it. Let it soften. Let it exhale. And while we're here, if your space is completely silent, and that silence feels loud, that's okay too. You don't have to force yourself into one sound or another. What matters is whether your nervous system relaxes in that space. Listen to your body. It knows. Now let's touch on temperature, because this one is huge and almost always overlooked. Your body naturally drops its core temperature as you fall asleep. That cooling process is part of what signals to your system, okay, we're entering sleep mode. But if your room is too warm or too cold, that process gets interrupted. And when that happens, your sleep gets lighter. You wake up more often. You toss and turn. Studies show that the ideal sleep temperature is between 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Of course, everyone's different, but the point is, cool is better than warm. So try adjusting your thermostat. Crack a window. Use breathable sheets. Maybe sleep with 1 foot out of the covers. It sounds silly, but it helps regulate temperature. Your body is constantly balancing, and your environment can either help or hinder that process. Alright, that's a lot already, and we haven't even talked about the visual side of your space. But we'll get there in the next part. For now, I just want you to pause and ask yourself, is my bedroom helping my body relax, or is it keeping me just a little too alert? And if the answer is the second one, don't panic. That's not failure. That's insight. That's the first step toward change. And change doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be expensive. Sometimes it's as simple as turning off one light earlier, lowering the volume, changing your sheets, giving your body a signal. Just one that says, you can rest now. That's the kind of environment that supports natural sleep. That's what we're building, one piece at a time. Let's keep going. Because the more we talk about how your environment affects your sleep, the more you realize how much power you actually have. Like, we think sleep is just this random thing our bodies either give us or withhold from us depending on how tired we are or how much stress we have. But when you start paying attention to your space, really paying attention, you start to see how much your environment is either inviting you into rest or constantly keeping you on edge. And one of the biggest environmental elements that often gets overlooked is visual clutter. I know. Maybe you're thinking, what does a pile of laundry or a messy nightstand have to do with my sleep? But here's the thing. Your brain sees everything. Even when you think you're ignoring it, even when your eyes are closed, even when you've told yourself it doesn't matter, your subconscious is still registering it. And when your space feels chaotic or crowded or unfinished, your brain stays active. It doesn't get the full permission to power down. Instead, it's running background tasks, noticing the bills you haven't paid, the books you haven't read, the shoes still on the floor. It's trying to process all that unfinished energy. And you might not realize it, but that overstimulation can prevent you from sinking into deep sleep. So creating a visually calming environment isn't about being neat for neat's sake. It's about signaling to your nervous system that the day is done, that there's nothing left to handle, that it's safe to fully, completely rest. And no, This doesn't mean your bedroom has to look like a hotel room or an Instagram post. It doesn't mean minimalism or beige walls or expensive sheets. It means intentionality. It means asking, does this space help me feel calm? Or does it remind me of everything I haven't finished? And if it's the second, that's your invitation to shift something. Start small. Maybe it's clearing your nightstand. Maybe it's folding the clothes at the end of your bed. Maybe it's putting that stack of unopened mail in a drawer until tomorrow. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is peace. And peace comes from creating a space that doesn't ask anything more from you. It just lets you be. And speaking of being, let's talk about the energy of your room. I know we touched on this in a previous episode, but I want to go deeper here because it really matters. Your space holds energy. Every time you walk into your bedroom, your body remembers how you felt in that space. If your bedroom has become a place of stress, where you've laid awake for hours, where you've checked your email at 2 a.m., where you've cried or argued or worried, your nervous system remembers that. Even if you've cleaned up the physical clutter, the emotional clutter can linger. That's why it's so powerful to intentionally shift the energy in your space. And again, it doesn't have to be dramatic. Sometimes it starts with just opening a window and letting in fresh air. Sometimes it's lighting a candle or diffusing an essential oil that smells like peace to you. Sometimes it's playing soft instrumental music or turning off every single noise and letting your space be completely still. Sometimes it's saying out loud, yes, literally out loud, this room is for rest now. This space is a sanctuary. It might feel silly, but your body listens. Your brain listens. You're reconditioning the space to mean something new. You're teaching your system, we're safe here. We don't have to fight anymore. And slowly over time, your body starts responding to that. You walk into your room and feel a little softer, a little slower, a little more willing to let go. And that's what this is all about. Creating an environment where sleep doesn't have to be earned. It just happens because the space around you supports it. Let's talk about one more piece of your environment that people rarely think about: technology. And I don't just mean blue light or phone addiction. I mean the emotional charge that comes with devices in your room. Think about it. Your phone connects you to the entire world, to news, to work, to opinions, to people, to pressure. And when you bring that device into your bed, you're bringing all of that energy with it. You might be watching something funny, but your brain is still on. You might be checking something just real quick, but now your mind is spinning. And your nervous system doesn't know the difference between a stressful email and a silly video. It just knows stimulation. So every time you pick up your phone in bed, you're reinforcing the idea that this space, this sacred, soft, end-of-day space, is also a work space, a worry space, a scrolling space. And that makes it so much harder to transition into sleep. So here's what I'd invite you to try. Not forever, not perfectly, but just as an experiment. Create a tech boundary around your bedroom. Maybe it's as simple as charging your phone in another room. Maybe it's setting a cutoff time, like no devices after 9 p.m. Maybe it's switching to analog tools, an old-school alarm clock, a real book, a notepad by your bed. You might feel weird at first. You might get twitchy. That's normal. Your brain is detoxing from constant input. But I promise, after a few days, something shifts. You start falling asleep faster, staying asleep longer, waking up more clear, because you've reclaimed your space, you've made your room about rest again. And there's something deeply healing about that. It's like your whole body exhales and says, "Oh, we're doing this now. We're sleeping." And not just sleeping, restoring, repairing, returning to center. That's the kind of sleep your environment can help you find, if you let it, if you shape it with care, if you treat your space not like an afterthought, but like a partner in your healing. Because it is. Your room is more than walls and furniture and blankets. It's the container for your most vulnerable hours. It holds you while you drift into unconsciousness. It protects you while your body repairs. And when you treat it like that, when you create it with that level of love and intention, it gives back in softness, in quiet, in rest, in sleep. All right. So by now, you're starting to see that your environment, the space you sleep in every single night, is doing a lot more than you think. It's not just a room. It's not just where you drop your body at the end of a long day. It's a living, breathing, feeling space that your nervous system is constantly reading, even if you're not aware of it. And if that space is filled with chaos, clutter, overstimulation, or even just energy that says, "We're not done yet," then your body doesn't know how to fully let go. But if that space is designed, not in a fancy way, but in a mindful way, to support your release, to hold your rest, to wrap you up in calm and stillness, then something beautiful happens. Your body starts to respond. Your mind starts to slow down. Your breath deepens without you trying. And sleep becomes not a struggle, but a surrender. That's the shift we're going after here. Not just falling asleep, not just getting more hours, but truly, deeply resting. And that kind of rest starts way before your head hits the pillow. It starts with how your space makes you feel the moment you walk in. And so in this part of the episode, I want to get even more intentional. I want to invite you to imagine, or maybe even create, your ideal sleep sanctuary. Not based on what's trendy or what you've seen on Instagram, but based on how your body feels. What kind of space makes you soften? What makes your shoulders drop just a little bit lower? What makes you want to breathe slower, move slower, think less? Because that's the compass. That's what we're following. So close your eyes for a second and imagine stepping into a space that's been created entirely to help you rest. What do you see? Is the light warm and low? Are the walls painted a soft color? Is there a chair in the corner with a blanket you love? Maybe there's a soft rug under your feet. Maybe the air smells like lavender or cedar wood or something that reminds you of safety. Maybe there's nothing on your nightstand except a journal and a lamp. Maybe the bed is simple but clean. Maybe it's made every morning just so you can slide into it with ease every night. Maybe there's no TV in sight, no laptop, no stack of unfinished projects, just stillness, just calm. Just the feeling of being supported, like the room itself is saying, "You can let go now." That's the energy I want you to start inviting into your space. Piece by piece, little by little. Because it's not about buying all new furniture or repainting your walls or spending money you don't have. It's about choosing with care. It's about asking, does this item belong in my rest space? Does this energy help me sleep or does it distract me? It's about making space, physically, emotionally, energetically, for rest. And that might mean letting go of some things. Maybe it's the chair that's become your unofficial laundry pile. Maybe it's the book you've been meaning to read but only feel guilty about every time you see it. Maybe it's the pile of paperwork that keeps reminding you of what you haven't done yet. Maybe it's the TV you only watch when you can't sleep, even though it always makes it harder to sleep. Letting go of those things is not about deprivation. It's about liberation. It's about creating a space that asks nothing more of you, that invites you to stop, that whispers to your nervous system, "It's okay to rest now, you're done for today." And when you start treating your room like that, like a sacred pause, like a breathing space, your whole body begins to recalibrate. It starts associating that space with calm, with relief, with healing. And over time, sleep returns, not because you chased it, not because you tricked your brain with a hack, but because you created the conditions for it to show up naturally. I want to share something personal. There was a time in my life when sleep felt impossible. Not because I didn't want it, but because my space was working against me. I was living out of boxes, my mattress was on the floor, the windows were covered in blackout shades, but not in a gentle way, more like taped up cardboard to block the world out. The air was stale. The room was dim but not cozy. I had piles of books, half-finished journals, reminders of things I hadn't done yet everywhere I looked. It didn't feel like a bedroom. It felt like a waiting room for stress. And even though I was exhausted, my body never relaxed in that space. I kept blaming myself, my overthinking, my anxious mind, my to-do list. But the truth was my space was feeding that energy. It wasn't neutral. It wasn't supportive. It was reflecting back all the things I was trying to escape. And when I finally got the courage to change it, to clear the clutter, to soften the lighting, to add plants, to wash the sheets more often, to open the window and let the breeze in, to move the phone charger out of the room, everything shifted. Not all at once, not magically, but gradually. My body started to trust the space again, and that trust turned into deeper breathing, and deeper breathing turned into stillness, and stillness turned into sleep. And the lesson I learned, the one I want to pass on to you, is that sleep is not a fight. It's a return. And sometimes that return begins with space. With changing the way your body feels the moment you enter the room. With asking, what would make this space feel more like rest? And then listening to the answer. You don't need a sleep coach or a supplement or a new app. You just need the courage to create a space that feels safe to your nervous system. Safe enough to close your eyes, safe enough to let go, safe enough to sleep. So now that we've walked through the light, the sound, the temperature, the clutter, the energy, all the layers that make up your sleep space, I want you to just take a breath. Just pause. Not to absorb information, not to analyze, but to feel what's stirring in you right now. Because I know that what we've been talking about isn't just practical, it's emotional. Your bedroom isn't just a room, it's where your body lays down its armor, where your nervous system uncoils, where your inner child still wants to feel safe in the dark. And maybe, just maybe, you haven't felt that safety in a long time. Maybe sleep has felt like a battle, like a punishment, like a nightly confrontation with everything you didn't process during the day. And if that's true for you, I just want to say, you're not alone, and you're not stuck. The space around you can change, and when it does, something inside you starts to change too. That's the beauty of an intentional sleep environment. It's not just about how your room looks. It's about how your body feels when you walk into it. Does your jaw unclench? Do your shoulders drop? Do you stop holding your breath without even realizing it? That's the magic. That's what we're going for. And what I love most about this whole process is that it's not about controlling sleep. It's about creating an invitation. An open door. A warm, quiet space that tells your body you're safe. You've done enough. You don't have to carry anything else tonight. And from that place, that soft, supported place, sleep becomes something that finds you. Not because you chased it, not because you earned it, but because your body finally has permission to let go. Think of it like this. When you walk into a spa or a cabin in the woods or a quiet hotel room with soft lights and fresh sheets, your body responds. It softens. It feels that energy, that peace, that pause. And the thing is, you can create that. You don't have to travel or spend money or do anything extreme. You can begin to shape your space with that same intention, one tiny step at a time. Maybe tonight it's lighting a candle. Maybe tomorrow it's clearing your nightstand. Maybe this weekend it's moving your desk out of the bedroom if you can. Or switching your bedding to something that feels more breathable. Or playing soft music as you brush your teeth. Or setting your lights to dim automatically at a certain hour. These may seem like small things, but your body notices. Your nervous system notices. Your sleep notices. This is how change begins, not in some grand overhaul, but in little moments of care. In creating a space that feels like rest, even before you close your eyes. And that space doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to feel like it belongs to you. That it was made for your healing. That it honors your rest. That it respects how hard you're trying and how much your body needs to repair and how deeply your soul is longing to just feel safe again. So here's your gentle invitation. Tonight, choose one thing. One small change you can make to turn your sleep space into a space that actually supports sleep. Not demands, not distracts, supports. Just one thing. And do it not out of pressure, but out of love, out of curiosity, out of that little voice inside you that's been whispering, I just want to feel better. Let that voice lead the way. Let that whisper turn into action, and let your space reflect that intention back to you. You are not asking for too much. You are not being selfish. You are not being dramatic for wanting a room that helps you rest. You are honoring one of the most basic, most beautiful needs of the human body, the need for sleep. And when you honor that, everything else starts to shift. Your energy, your mood, your health, your clarity. It all begins with rest. So let your space become a partner in that process. Let it hold you. Let it quiet you. Let it welcome you back to yourself. And as you do, sleep won't feel like something you have to fight for. It will feel like something that's been waiting for you all along. And if this episode helped you feel even a little more connected to that possibility, if it gave you a spark of motivation, a sense of hope, or even just a breath of relief, I'd love for you to subscribe to the Daily Health Shift. We're building something special here. Not just tips for better sleep, but a movement toward gentler, more natural healing. And if you know someone whose room is holding them back, who's exhausted but doesn't know where to start, maybe share this with them. Sometimes the smallest changes unlock the deepest rest. You deserve a space that supports you. You deserve rest that feels real. And it's closer than you think. I'll see you in the next episode.